Hi guys, so most of you know that I'm not Jeremy Corbyn's biggest fan, but when he does something right, then he should be applauded for it. So in Parliament on Monday, he attacked Boris Johnson over corruption and not looking out for businesses and individuals. So let's hear what he had to say.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My constituents are seeking explanations. Most of them have lost income, many have lost their jobs, all are facing varying degrees of stress, from the very severe to the concern about their lives. Many local small businesses have closed for good because they see no future and they're not getting the support that they need. Yet, Mr. Speaker, I think answers are required from the Prime Minister. How £10.5 billion of NHS contracts were awarded without tender, how a further 99% of all NHS contracts were awarded again without tender, and that last week the court found that the Secretary of State for Health had not acted legally in the awarding of these contracts. And so I ask the Prime Minister to do two things. Will he end this scandalous privatisation of our NHS, which is happening before our very eyes? And will he also replace the Health Secretary with somebody who will stand by and obey the law and publish in advance all contracts that are due to be let, so the public can see how their money is being spent?
Okay, so I think it's important just to review what he has said here. So he's talked about, of course, people who have lost income and lost their jobs. Many people have are suffering during this pandemic. What is the government going to do? He said there was a lack of support for small businesses in particular. What is Boris Johnson going to do about that? He mentioned, of course, the £10.5 billion of contracts handed out without a tender, and 99% of contracts were handed over to businesses without any tendering process. Now, he mentioned that Matt Hancock acted unlawfully in awarding these contracts, and that's actually wrong. Jeremy Corbyn is wrong here. It's not that he acted unlawfully in awarding the contracts. He acted unlawfully by not publishing the contracts within 30 days. Now, later, Jeremy Corbyn corrects himself. He doesn't actually say that he's correcting himself, but this was a small mistake on his side. And then finally, he mentions about the NHS being sold off, of course, and asks for, in contrast to Keir Starmer, he asks for Matt Hancock's head. He asks for him to be fired, or at least for him to resign. So let's hear how Boris Johnson is going to respond to this. And, well, you know exactly how he's going to respond to this.
Well, Mr. Speaker, to the best of my memory, the Labour Party opposition were advocating during the earlier stages of the crisis that we should secure PPE from, I think, a theatrical impresario who specialised in capes and gowns, and a football agent who claimed to be able to get hold of masks, Mr. Speaker. We went as fast as we possibly could to get PPE, and those who are now...
I don't even think that's true, but it doesn't even matter. Is there any value in asking Boris Johnson a question in Parliament? Because Boris Johnson makes up his own questions and responds to them instead. There's no mention of businesses who are closing. There's no mention of people who are losing income and losing jobs. There's no mention of the billions of pounds that were handed over to donors of the Conservative Party, to friends of the party, to people who have connections to the Conservative Party. £10.5 billion. No mention of that, of course. No mention of the 99% of contracts that were handed out without a tender. No mention of, selling off parts of the NHS. This is part, of course, of the slow step towards complete privatisation of the NHS. And no mention of Matt Hancock being fired. Well, there's still time. Let's hear what else he had to say.
Denouncing us for going too fast were those who were complaining back then that we weren't going fast enough.
As I said yesterday in another video, Boris Johnson will not fire Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock will not resign. They don't care. Over 100,000 people are dead. Boris Johnson doesn't care about that. Billions of pounds were wasted on test and trace. 22 billion pounds was wasted on a test and trace system that doesn't work. Boris Johnson doesn't care about that. Businesses are closing. He doesn't care. People are out of work. He doesn't care. Now his sycophants will, he's doing a fantastic job, or give him a chance. He's doing his best. He doesn't care about you. He never has, and he never will. And frankly, I'm almost to the point where I'm not even going to bother anymore doing these responses to Prime Minister's questions or these debates in Parliament, because it's a waste of time. Because an MP asks a question and Boris Johnson answers a different question. An MP raises a valid point, Boris Johnson ridicules them, mispronounces their party, starts talking about something else. What is the point of all of this? Really? What is the point in having a parliament? What's the point in attempting to hold the government to account when they don't answer questions? And they're not forced to answer questions. What's the point in having a speaker? The speaker might as well just go home. What is the value in having the speaker there? Zero value. I really don't see the point of this any longer. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?